If you have a problem relating to delays in transit, damage to cargo in transit, theft, shortages, contamination, or whatever, we want you to think about one company only, Still Fresh.
You're listening to Blue Radio, bringing the vibe. And like any other day, it is a theater out here at Diamonds Hotel in Diani. If you'll be listening to this conversation, then I would say you've missed out on a lot. But remember, catch all the interviews on our playlist on YouTube. But all that aside, it is my pleasure as always, because it's another opportunity to learn, it's another opportunity to network. And today, seated across me is Kingsley. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thank you very much for having me.
The pleasure is ours. I'd like to start by doing a post-mortem of Blue Invest 2024. Yeah.
All right.
You've taken the time to be here. It was in your goal to take the time to come out here. I'd like to start by asking, have you ticked all the boxes, or rather all the goals that you had for this particular event?
Yes, all but one. So there were two primary reasons why we came. The first one was to network.
Okay.
And we've done that, I think, brilliantly well. We've met some really cool companies, organizations, potential partners over the course of the past 2 days.
Okay.
The other primary reason why we're here was funding, but I think you don't get funding meeting an investor for the first time. So it's a process. We've started a process, and we're hoping that in the course of next couple of weeks, 2 months, we'll be able to further the conversations around funding as well.
All right. You're laser focused, and that's amazing. Yeah. I would like maybe to pull the conversation a little bit backwards. Who is Kingsley, and what does Kingsley do? I would like to start from there.
All right. Thank you very much. So Kingsley is first and foremost a father of two.
Okay.
I'm from Cameroon. I'm married. And I am the founder and CEO at Still Fresh. And still, what we do at Still Fresh is we work together with international traders and the insurance companies to protect themselves against losses that may occur in transit. So we provide primarily two services. One is the remote inspection of containerized cargo using our web-based mobile application.
Okay.
And the second one is recovery actions. So in the event of damage to cargo in transit, we assist the international traders to recover the losses from the liable third parties, who can be shipping lines, airlines, or freight forwarders.
Yesterday I had a guest from Togo, and he mentioned something about African ports not being well connected. I don't know if this is a challenge you've encountered, and if so, how have you tackled it?
It is a problem that is well known on the African continent. Actually, one of the startup founders who was here today is trying to solve that problem from Togo, where they are collecting containers from bigger vessels and then delivering them into smaller, shallow ports within other African countries. That is not an area where we are particularly focused in. Our focus is more about the integrity of cargo as it moves either in between African countries or between Africa and the West.
Interesting. And I would like to get into something very interesting. Yeah, right now, Africa, we are seeing an upsurge of young people, getting into not only getting into it, but having an upsurge of that population. We're being told by 2030, 2050, we'll be having more than 2 billion people on the planet. Yeah,
correct.
But unemployment still plagues the continent. Yeah. And many young people are not viewing blue economy and the vast blue as a place for employment. Yeah, how do you plan to bridge this gap? To make the vast blue, for lack of a better word, make it sexy for them.
All right. Thank you very much for the question. I think this problem is at the root or at the crux of why Still Fresh was formed. To give you a little bit of context into my background, I joined the shipping industry. It's been now over 15 years.
Wow.
I started working in London for a shipping line. Then I moved to Argentina, where I switched sites and I started working with insurance companies and international traders across the Latin American continent. Then I moved to South Africa, where I started the company on behalf of my previous employer. We grew the market over 70%. And the reason why I say this is because over that period of time, it became very clear to me that there were people who looked and sounded like me were very few and far between. And whilst in Africa, I realized that we were solving African problems, or rather, African businesses were relying on service providers from outside the continent to solve problems on the continent. And I felt that was wrong, and there was something that we could do about it. And what did we do? We decided to identify talent on the continent, to train this talent and retain this talent. So 100% of those who work for Still Fresh now are either from Africa or are connected to Africa in some way. And we have been able to give them the requisite skills to play at an international level. So you can imagine someone who studies law in Cameroon, has never been out of Cameroon, has never engaged with anyone outside of Cameroon. After working with us, they are now capable of engaging qualified lawyers in different parts of the world and resolving cases worth, hundreds of thousands of dollars and settling that in Cameroon. If you think about it, it's incredibly empowering, for someone who comes from a humble background like I did, to be able to manage and settle claims, worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. That is not something that you dream about every day on the continent. Yes.
Wow, that's really powerful. Yeah. Right now, I like to take you in a direction that is very interesting. Yeah. Many of the audience that we have are young people. Yes. In Kenya.
Yes.
I like for you to take a minute to send a message to them. Someone is set to join university, is set to join a technical institute, or somebody just wants to find something to do, and they haven't discovered the vast blue as that place. What message would you have for them?
Well, I think my message is going to be twofold.
Okay.
The first one is that we should not be blinded or misled by the get rich quick schemes that we see around. It does happen for some people, but not for the vast majority of us. So whatever it is that you do, my advice is to stick to it. Stick to it, learn as much as you can, and you'll be able to commoditize or monetize it at some point later in life. Now, bringing that to the blue economy, I think there's something which I've missed in this, as many people in this conference have spoken about the blue economy, which is what really is the blue economy. So many people will talk about fishing, tourism and things like that. But there's a lot more to the blue economy than that. 80% or more of global trade occurs on the vast oceans, right? Yeah. So there is shipping itself. There is P&I clubs. There's the legal professionals. There are recovery agents. There's technology. That's what we do. We combine all of these things together. So they're quite a varied avenue of revenue generation on the blue economy that is either underexploited or even unaware by the youth on the African continent. So my message is that you should take some time to explore and ask questions and speak to those that are in the industry. One of the reasons why I'm passionate about this industry, and one of the reasons why I started this, is because I hold the firm belief that the only difference between the African youth and those around the world is exposure. And that is what we're doing at Still Fresh. We're giving exposure to African youth because we believe, and I believe that if given the right exposure, you'll be amazed at what can come out of Africa.
All right. As we wind up, Kingsley, I would like to tap into your vision of what Still Fresh would look like 10 years from now. If we met, let's say at maybe Blue Invest 2030, how would Still Fresh look like? And more importantly, what kind of vision do you see Africa having when Africa unites? What kind of blue economy could we have?
Starting off with the vision for Still Fresh. Still Fresh in the next 10 years will be the household name for the protection of our goods as they travel, either within Africa or outside Africa. Okay. So we want to be the go-to resource, support, marketplace for international traders. If you have a problem relating to delays in transit, damage to cargo in transit, theft, shortages, contamination, or whatever, we want you to think about one company only, Still Fresh.
Still Fresh, yeah.
Because we have been doing this for such a long time. We have amassed knowledge around it. We have technology to support you with, and we are quite cost effective when it comes to dealing with these matters as compared to our competitors who are largely outside of Africa. Now, the second part of your question deals with
the vision of Africa's blue economy.
So I believe that the Africa Free Trade Continental Area presents a very strategic opportunity for Africans and Africa at large. And this there's an intricate link between the success of the Africa Free Trade Continental Area Agreement and the blue economy.
Okay.
Without the blue economy, the Africa Free Trade Continental Area wouldn't see its fullest potential. So the vision for Africa I see is one of interconnectedness, one where knowledge is freely available or steadily at least easily accessible to the masses on the African continent, one where Africa has realized that for many years it has been losing out on its potential to the rest of the world. And that we are now at a point where, whatever it is that you need relating to blue economy, whether it's legal support, whether it is the necessary insurance products, whether it is the qualified inspectors, whatever it is, you'll be able to find it on the African continent, and you don't have to look outside our shores to find the services that you need. All right. That's quite powerful. I would like to give you 1 minute to speak to anyone who would listen to this conversation later on. What message would you want them, to pick? We've talked a lot. We've said many things. I know you've spoken to a lot of people in the conversation, Right. But there is something that is burning. There's that fire burning inside you that you'd say, if somebody ever stumbles on this message, I want you to take this. Okay. What would that be? Okay. So I want to conclude my discussion with you today by focusing my attention to those that are involved in international exportation, particularly of perishable products from Africa and Kenya in particular. Okay. So Kenya does a lot of avocados and flowers and things like that. And I have seen firsthand how much you're losing by either not being proactive enough to protect your interests or being complacent to believe that your partners in Europe and other parts of the world have your best interests at heart. Now, we've seen instances where exporters from Kenya has exported 10, 20 containers of avocados to Europe. And within 2 weeks, all the containers went bad. The shipping line rejected the cargo because the owner couldn't prove the condition of the cargo at the first place. So what would typically happen is the buyer would say, okay, I've suffered a loss of 20%. And we as Africans are quick to provide, 20% markup or something like that to compensate for the losses that the buyer has suffered. Because one, we need the business from the buyer, but also two, we do not have a way of verifying the veracity of that statement. So my message to the international traders on the African continent is that we are losing a lot of money and resources from the African continent, and it doesn't have to be that way. We are here, Still Fresh is here. We'll be able to help consult you for free, to tell you what your rights are, to tell you what you need to do to reduce your losses, and in the event that you've suffered loss of your damage of your cargo in transit, we'll be able to help you to recover money at no cost to you unless we are successful. So there is no additional financial risk to you. We'll take on the risk. We go after the responsible parties. We collect the money on your behalf, and we'll pay it back to you. And we retain a small profit from there, and that is what we use in training and retaining the African youth in the business. All right. That's powerful. I love it. My people are into avocados, so I think there is something I would introduce them to today. Brilliant. Thank you very much. As that's all we had for today. And if you'd listen to our conversation and by peradventure you didn't get anything from it, please, the message is loud and clear. If you have challenges when you are taking your goods out of Africa, always believe there is someone out here or in Africa that has your best interests, and they are willing to do it. Remember, for free.
taking your risks for free. That doesn't happen anywhere.
No.
I love it.
Brilliant.
I love it. Thank
Brilliant.
you very much.
Thank you.
Najua nishachelewa, kama kupenda umeshawahiwa, nahisi kama ngekiwa, hadithi nzuri nasimuliwa, kweli manani kaumba dunia kwa uwezo wa pekee, kupa maksi 100%, bado wife ni wewe.